Mark, to Manchester United. They need to sell players, clearly, and they've made that very, very clear, but they want a number 9 as well. Who are they looking at?
Yeah, a couple of names on the list right at the top of it. Benjamin Šeško, a player that is wanted by Newcastle United as well. Manchester United very much in the market for him. It's funny, a couple of years ago, he was on the radar of Real Madrid. He stayed within the Red Bull group, going from Salzburg to Leipzig. He's been watched by Premier League clubs since he was a teenager, really, and it feels like now this is the summer where he is available and potentially available for Premier League sides. It's an expensive deal to make happen, but we know that Manchester United are interested in the 22-year-old. They're also interested in Ollie Watkins as well, but that deal potentially could be quite difficult because of Aston Villa's stance and reluctance to sell a key member of their first team. So yeah, they are in the market for a number 9. I should imagine they'll get one, but what it looks like at this stage, we're not quite sure, but those are 2 players that are definitely very much on their radar.
Yeah, and it's interesting as well because this one has been driven by their recruitment director, Christopher Vivell, who was actually the Red Bull scout at Red Bull Salzburg, and he brought in Sesko in as a 16-year-old. Just a couple of other lines with regard to Manchester United and the latest on Jadon Sancho. Borussia Dortmund remain interested in signing him. He, of course, joined United from Dortmund back in 2021, went on loan back to Dortmund for the second half of the 2023-24 season. Performed pretty well as well, didn't he? Got into the Champions League final. Sky Germany are also reporting that he may be prepared to take a wage cut because that was a bit of an issue when Chelsea decided not to take up the obligation to buy him at the end of last season. Now, might be some other players who could be on their way in at United as well, Michael.
Yeah, this is one we were given yesterday. Now, we must stress this is just interest now. Gianluigi Donnarumma from PSG, the PSG Champions League winning goalkeeper. Now, why is there interest? Well, he's in the final year of his contract at PSG and they're signing a new goalkeeper, Lille's Lucas Chevrolet. So, but we are told there's a possibility he might stay and challenge for that spot as well. But look, looking at what United have had over the last couple of seasons, if that was to happen, that would be a huge, huge signing for Ruben Amorim, wouldn't it, Donnarumma?
Well, it's the type of player that Manchester United fans want to be associated with. Champions League winner, someone that's coming for a big club. This rebuild over the course of this summer with the Ruben Amorim fingerprint of DNA on that team, and you get the feeling that a player like that, along with Cunha and Burmo, and then someone like Sesko, that would be the type of summer that Manchester United fans would say, this is where we feel like we're back to being what we are. Now we need to start seeing it on the pitch. But in the window, they're certainly making all the right noises.
OK, let's rattle for
United, because yesterday we reported that the club are interested in the Paris Saint-Germain goalkeeper, Gianluigi Donnarumma. This is big news, isn't it? Dan, just tee this up for us. How far down the line are we with a potential deal here?
Yeah, look, I think it's important to say at first that, they're very tentative. United are interested in Donnarumma. And when you look at their goalkeeping situation at the moment, Andre Onana, he is on tour with Manchester United at the moment, but he's out with a hamstring injury. United have had previous interest in Donnarumma in 2017 when he was at AC Milan. He then renewed his contract then, but really at this stage it's just interest, and Donnarumma is entering the final 12 months of his contract at PSG. We know he's a Euros winner, of course, beating England a few summers ago, and of course a Champions League winner now with that PSG team we saw at the end of last season. So we'll have to wait and see where United's interest goes, if that turns into a formal bid. But, Jay, I'd ask you, is that where they need to strengthen right away?
Definitely. I think most teams, if they could sign Donnarumma, it's going to be an upgrade on their keeper. He's one of the best in the world. I'd argue probably top 3 in the world. Obviously, he won the Champions League last year. He's a fantastic goalkeeper. He's a different kind of goalkeeper to Onana. Of course, we see Onana, even though he had an indifferent season last year, there were some very good moments, but then there was a lot of mistakes, and obviously with them mistakes, it's highlighted. You remember those mistakes. So I can understand why Man United would be looking at Donnarumma. Like I said, he's got a year left on his contract. Is this a situation where his agent's trying to get more money out of PSG? Is it a situation where he might just wait until until the January transfer window, because then he can speak to foreign clubs and then maybe leave at the end of the season on a free. We don't know, but there's one thing for sure, he's a fantastic keeper.
And you can see there, Onana, 8 errors leading to goals. That's the most of any goalkeeper in the Premier League last season. I mean, you mentioned it there, are different types of goalkeepers, aren't they? Donnarumma, we saw pull off some amazing saves in the Champions League, particularly against Arsenal. But is he as good with the ball at his feet as someone like Onana?
I wouldn't say he's as good with his feet as Onana, but ultimately you want your keeper to make saves. And if you can have a great goalkeeper who's decent with his feet, I personally would take that over someone that's very good with their feet that don't make a lot of saves and makes more mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that you have to remember, yes, Onana did have a few mistakes last season, but he also did have a few man of the match performances as well. I mean, I remember one in particular against Brentford. You know, he made a fantastic double save among many others that game, and he also won goal save of the month a few occasions last season as well. So yes, he had some mistakes in him, but I think Manchester United as a whole, as you know, Jay, when a squad themselves aren't feeling all that confident, maybe does a goalkeeper, a forward, maybe need a bit more empathy, even though those positions get so much more attention.
I mean, yes, but I think the way keepers are judged, especially at the biggest clubs in the world, the top clubs, is they're not going to have many shots to save. You know, you look at like Alisson, you look at Edison, you know, you look at them kind of keepers in the Premier League, they might have 2 shots to save in the 90th minute, and you have to make them. And with Onana, yes, he's had great games, yes, he's made some fantastic saves, but them mistakes have cost Man United games. And ultimately, I think that's where it's more important to have a goalkeeper that's going to make them big save and limit those mistakes than have someone that's great with their feet, that's going to play out, hit diagonal balls. That's great, but ultimately is going to lose games for Man United, and that's what he did last year.
All right, I want to move it on to the other end of the pitch now as well, because you can look at Man United and say, well, they've got a few gaps where they could fill and they could strengthen. They are interested in a striker, right? They've been linked with Ollie Watkins, Nicholas Jackson, but it seems, Benjamin, we call him Sesko?
Hey, we have Tim Vicker
Sounded like Sean Connery.
He's great at pronunciations.
Sheshko, I think that's how you pronounce it.
I won't be pronouncing it like that.
It sounded like you've had a few when you say it that way. He's the front runner now. So where are we with this at the moment?
So Manchester United, we know, have really struggled to score goals in the last 12 months, something Ruben Amorim has highlighted many a time. And as we understand it, Manchester United have held initial talks with RB Leipzig over Benjamin Šeško, 13 goals in the Bundesliga last season. And we were just talking about earlier, Jay, that he's got a variety of goals, didn't he? And that is something I think Ruben Amorim wants in his team, not just the lack of goals, but someone who can work in his system. And I mean, what do you think, Jay, in terms of Sesko and what you could add to the Premier League?
Yeah, no, I think he's a really good player. Obviously, he's a young player as well. When I look at his all-round game, he to me is exactly what Man United need. They need someone that is good in the box, that's a good finisher. He's very cute as well. He makes really good runs. You know, he goes to feet and then checks in behind and vice versa. He scores all different goals. He's a very strong player. But the way Man United will play with the 2 number 10s, they need a focal point. And even though Højlund has been, he's been good in games. You've seen he went for a season. In the part of the season last year where he scored a few goals and he was on a bit of a run. But ultimately, I feel like Sesko could be that upgrade where, especially when they're putting balls on the box from wide areas, he's that kind of fox in the box, but then he's got that imagination as well to get involved in the game a bit more than Højlund does.
So where would that leave Højlund then? If Sesko comes in, I know he's...
Manchester United could be set for a dream final month of the summer transfer window. United badly needed to fix their goal-scoring issues after netting an abysmal 44 goals in the Premier League last term. Chances were regularly squandered by United's attacking players, who all lacked the composure needed to convert goal-scoring opportunities. Those problems have been identified and seem to have been partly addressed with the signings of Brian Bumo from Brentford and Wolves' Mateus Cunha. And yet a truly top squad needs a reliable goal-scoring number 9, and that's why they are chasing a deal for RB Leipzig forward Benjamin Šeško. United badly needed to fix their goal-scoring issues after netting an abysmal 44 goals in the Premier League last term. chances were regularly squandered by United's attacking players, who all lacked the composure needed to convert goal-scoring opportunities. Those problems have been identified and seem to have been partly addressed with the signings of Brian Bumo from Brentford and Wolves' Mateus Cunha. And yet a truly top squad needs a reliable goal-scoring number 9, and that's why they are chasing a deal for RB Leipzig forward Benjamin Šeško. The 22-year-old has the attributes that Rasmus Højlund has lacked to succeed in the Premier League.